Yeah, I think it's actually quite the opposite. The quarantine has helped us find more human capital, capitalize on the human inside of us, because people begin to understand what it means to be mindful of the time, mindful of what you're building. They were given time to actually stop mechanically just following and working every day, just their busy lives, and really refocus, even for ourselves. Like this, we had these conversations this morning together. We're discussing this. I would also add to this from my side that if you think about it, it has helped us kind of give a new understanding to certain values, one. Second, to the modes in which we interact, and remember what it was like when we all didn't have to wear masks, when we didn't have to really limit ourselves from physical interactions, and how much it turns out we crave those things after being a year away from that. The human touch is so important, but also from the future and technology standpoint, rethinking a lot of things, how we work, how we study, and which elements do we want to introduce that are new, and which elements do we want to actually keep and enhance that are the same but turned out to be our core values. So it's interesting, but the answer is, interestingly enough, people. It's people that make our organization so special. And this morning we had a conversation when we discussed that for someone who heads the company, for the CEO, like the name of your magazine, what are some of the key qualities? And basically we were discussing that one, they have to be, we call it lightness, but in a sense that the person is flexible, and at the same time they don't take everything almost like too heavily, too seriously. So they have to be mobile and being able to adapt. The second one, we talked about that they have to have a strong individuality, they have to have a vision, a purpose. And third is a principle of, we call it principle of a candle. If you use a candle to light the second candle, the first candle doesn't lose anything. And then this can go on and on and on. So how do you, if you can actually spread the light, and then there's more light for everyone. So not being afraid to give away power, give away control. That's very important. So practically, if you start talking about it, human capital and its importance, etc., it's becoming a bit trite. I mean, we speak about it so much these days, but when we speak about it, it's always very important to show very practical examples of how do you convert human capital into action, to measurable results. So you have this human capital. It's important to you, the programs you run or whatever you grow it. What happens afterwards? How does it translate into whatever you do in your business? So it's these examples that really is what we need in the industry when we speak about human capital now. So, talk about human capital. Practical example. We have a big portfolio in the Silicon Valley, 214 companies right now in which we've invested. And I can tell you right now that I've never invested in a single company myself thinking for more than 3 hours. But when I look at the potential, first thing I look at, and the most important thing I look at, is the person who is the driver of this company. Because even if the idea is not fully there, if the product is not fully there, with the right person, it can be grown to the skies. But the best technologies could be completely ruined if you got the wrong people in place. So person is my first principle when I invest. So basically, when we speak about one of our core tactical goals for this year is continue working on creating the infrastructure in the Silicon Valley, where it still remains and will remain for many years on the technological capital of the world, with best practices, best technologies, and some of the best talent also. So continuing to create it there, creating this well of resources, and then retranslating this into other regions is our key goal. And specifically, we talk about, of course, the UAE region is one of our key targets for this year. We see a really big potential here. And this retranslation, this taking some of the programs and some of the successes we had there and basically launching it here is what we're looking. So we purchased a very interesting historic building in the center of San Francisco, and we basically reconstructed it, reformatted it, and we called it the Startup Temple, and it's basically the key startup hub. So one of the goals is, of course, looking for very talented people, entrepreneurs, professionals, and then taking our, what we call the infrastructure, all of the support layers that we have from venture to acceleration, incubation programs, physical spaces, and using that to augment the value of that talent and allow them to grow through that. And of course, that would be our basically contribution to the development of these talents wherever they're located in the world. It doesn't matter. So basically, when we talk about the basis of our company, and we built it on these programs targeting the development of entrepreneurs like Startup Academy, development of future investors like or improving skills of current investors such as Venture Academy, and many other programs through which we basically foster and grow this community. And having done this for about 8 years now globally, and we've been recently very graciously awarded #1 private accelerator by UBI Global. That was in 2019, right before COVID. We looking to take a lot of that and retranslate it and help to build a local ecosystem in UAE, which could have similar programs, and then allow the local community of entrepreneurs, investors, and large corporates that interact with them really become self-sustainable.